There's a phrase that gets constantly used in travel: adults only. Adults only does not mean peaceful. Adults only is an age policy. It is not an atmosphere promise. It tells you who's allowed on the property, but it does not tell you how the resort will feel once you're there. And that difference is where a lot of travelers get frustrated. So that's where we're starting. What adults only actually guarantees. In travel planning conversations, one request comes up again and again. We just want it quiet. We just want an adults only experience. And I understand exactly what people mean by that. They want quiet. They want peaceful. They don't want to spend their 1 week off managing other people's noise, other people's pace, or other people's energy. They want to arrive, exhale, and feel like the resort itself is helping them slow down. But here's the thing: adults only is a marketing category. It's a label resorts use to describe who's allowed on the property, usually based on the resort's minimum guest age requirement. It says absolutely nothing about the atmosphere once you get there. You can absolutely book an adults-only resort and end up at a resort with a super active, busy, energetic pool scene. A swim-up bar that becomes the center of the day. Music that carries across the entire resort. Groups celebrating weddings, anniversaries, and weekend escapes. A dining room where the energy feels more like the beginning of a night out rather than the end of a peaceful and restful day. And none of this is wrong. Some guests are looking exactly for that. They want energy. They want music. They want to meet people. They want to feel that the resort is alive. But if that's not what you're looking for, if that is not actually what you want, and you actually want to rest, then the adults only label by itself can mislead you. This is where thoughtful travelers get frustrated. They picked a well-reviewed adults-only property. They read the beautiful description. They looked at the beautiful photos. They paid for the upgraded room. Then they arrived and realized the trip did not feel the way they imagined it would feel. Not because the resort was necessarily bad, not because they made a careless choice, but because they were sold a label and they bought a building. What they did not know to ask about was the lived experience. How was the main pool actually used during the day? Is there one quiet pool and one social pool? Or does everyone gather in one place? Does a swim-up bar become the center of the resort by mid-afternoon? Is there a nightly entertainment schedule, and can it be heard from the guest rooms? Are restaurants calm and intimate, or are they loud, social, and high energy? Is the resort designed for privacy, or is it designed to create constant movement? These things matter because adults only can mean a quiet, romantic resort where couples can read by the pool and go to bed early. And it can also mean a high-energy social scene with better cocktails. Both of those exist. They both call themselves adults only. They are not the same trip. So if adults only is not enough of a filter, then what is? This is really the heart of Stillpoint Travel, and it is the reason that this series exists. At Stillpoint, I don't look at a resort only by category. adults only, all-inclusive, 5-star, beachfront. Now, those labels may matter, but they're not the whole story. The better question is, what does the resort actually feel like to stay in? What does a Tuesday afternoon feel like there? What does 7 p.m. sound like from a standard room? What is the energy at breakfast? Where do people gather? Where can people be alone? Does the layout create privacy, or does it push everyone into the same places? Is the beach calm and spacious, or is everyone competing for chairs by mid-morning? Is the resort built for rest, or is it built for stimulation? These questions get you much closer to the truth than any label ever will. And this is not being against lively resorts. Some travelers want social energy. Some travelers want music. Some want a resort with movement, conversation, and a full evening atmosphere. That can be wonderful when it's the right match. The problem is not energy. The problem is misalignment. The problem is booking one kind of trip while expecting another. So the real starting point isn't just, do you want adults only? The better starting point is, what kind of adult experience are you actually craving? Quiet romance, deep rest, wellness and softness, elegant social energy, privacy, a slower pace. Because once you know that, the resort search becomes much clearer. So if you take one thing from this video, let it be this. The label is only the starting point. It is where your research begins, not where it ends. Adults only can be helpful, but peaceful is something you have to look for more carefully. In the next video, I'm going to walk you through what I actually look at. The specific structural things that tell you whether a resort is built for rest or whether it is built for stimulation. I call it the quiet test. And once you know it, you'll never read a resort listing the same way again. Whenever you're ready, you can start with a planning form at Stillpoint Travel. I'm Tara with Stillpoint Travel, and I'll see you on the next one.